Hello, this is Mrs. Hernandez here, and I'm making this video or this recording to kind of share the pitfalls that I've seen students make regarding time management over my years of teaching. And the farther I get into teaching, the more I realize that 90% of the issues that students face when they're feeling overwhelmed or frustrated or upset about a class, 90% of it just boils down to time management. And so a few years ago, I really started to focus on time management skills with my students, and it really does help. It really does help. The soft skill of time management is kind of at the core of success, not only as a student, not only in your professional life, but also in like your personal life as well. So I mean, I don't remember when I learned time management skills, but once I kind of caught on to the fact that time management was at the root of pretty much all success, I started to really think about it as its own discipline and as its own skill. So, I mean, I know that this is a little over the top, but I do consider myself a little bit of like a time management queen because I have thought so much about it in my life, and I have read research about time management and its correlation to success in life, stress management, mental health problems. When people don't have good time management, they often have mental health issues. So that's why we're here today to talk about time management, because not only will good time management skills help you in my class and in every class in school, but it'll just help you be a happier, more successful human across the board. So why does time management matter? At the end of the day, if you don't have time management skills, the natural state of a human being is that you're distractible. People procrastinate. That's natural. People waste time. That's all natural. But all of those distractions and that procrastination and those time wasters, things that are fine, but they're just not best in the moment, all of that stuff keeps you from getting what you really want in life. So before you can even manage your time, you have to ask yourself, what do you actually want? What do you want out of this class? Do you want to just pass with a D minus, or do you want to get an A and think about improving your ACT score, improving your GPA, getting the skills you need to be awesome in the next class down the line, or in the next college course that you take, in the next high school course that you take? What are your actual goals? And so take a second to think about what really matters to you. And we can talk about what matters to us forever and ever, but until you take a look at what actually matters to you, and then you match your effort and your time with what actually matters to you, this conversation is unnecessary, right? Because at the end of the day, you can talk about till you're blue in the face. You can say that school matters, that your GPA matters, that your ACT score matters, right? But if you're not matching your time with what matters, then it doesn't actually matter. So say like at this time in your life, whether you're a senior in high school or a sophomore in high school, if you're saying that, you know, school is your job and you want to focus on doing school really well, then school, if you take a look at your hours that you have in the day, if you have 24 hours in the day, you're at school for 6 to 7 hours a day. If there's 24 hours in the day, let's just roughly say that your time in school is a third of your day. Your time after school, if you want to spend a few hours after school doing the homework that's necessary for you to be successful for those in school hours, are you actually matching that time outside of school that you're spending? Are you matching that time with how important your success in school is to you? Because if you're spending more time playing video games or hanging out with friends or oversleeping, right? If you're spending more time doing those things, then you can't say that school is the most important to you. What's really the most important is video games, hanging out. You know what I'm saying? You can say what's important to you, but until you put your time and your effort behind it, we don't have a conversation, right? So I like to say that students will come to me and say, you know, I just didn't have enough time to do this assignment. And I'll look around the room and see that, you know, the other students in the class had the exact same time from our last class to this due date, right? And they were they had it completed. They all had the same 24 hours in the previous day. So it's not that you didn't have time to complete that assignment, it's that you didn't prioritize it. You prioritized something else, whether it was an assignment in another class, your job, your family, and sometimes you have to prioritize other things. But until you stop saying, I didn't have time for that, and you start saying, I didn't prioritize that, you're not thinking like a time manager, right? So it's not about what you have time for, it's about what you prioritize and you complete first. So at the end of the day, when we talk about time management, what we're really saying is self-management. Did you manage yourself? And what we mean by self-management is kind of like a psychology term that we call delayed gratification. Delayed gratification sounds like a weird term, but it really means, am I able to delay what I want right now so I can get something that I want even more later? So, for example, what I really want right now in this very moment, as I'm talking here, what I really want is to be petting my puppy and watching Gilmore Girls and maybe falling asleep a little bit, right? That's what I want right now. But I want what I want even more. I want to delay that gratification for what I want right now. I want to delay that because what I want even more than that is I want my students to learn that time management matters and can help them be happy. So I'm going to delay my Gilmore Girls poll, right? And I'm going to stick with making this video because what's more important to me down the line is student success. So I'm going to delay what I want right now so I can get what I really want in the future. So I'm going to manage myself and I'm going to acknowledge that I don't 100% want to do this right in this minute, but what I really want in long term is more important. So at the end of the day, when we talk about finding time for stuff, you're never going to find time for homework. You're never going to find time for studying. Nobody has time for that. You have to make time for what matters to you. So if you've left somebody unread or you haven't responded to their text in a week, the bottom line is it's not that you didn't have time. Nobody is too busy for 30 seconds, right? It's that you didn't make time for that. You didn't prioritize that. So we got to stop thinking that time is out of our control. It is in our control. And we got to make it. We got to decide what matters and do the things that matter first. So when we talk about prioritizing tasks, right, you might have a lot of difficult classes right now in your life. You might be taking not only this class, but 6 other high level important classes. And so you have to think to yourself, if you have a list of things that you got to do, and I do think that you should literally make a literal, like, written list of the things you need to do. Be the kind of person who has enough grit and enough power in their lives to put at the very top of their list the things they don't want to do the most, the hardest things, the most difficult things. Do those first, because if you do the difficult things first, they're going to take less time. If you save the difficult things for last on your list when you're the most tired and you're the most impatient, you're going to do a crappy job on those. You're going to not have enough energy to do it, and you're going to put it off until the next day. But if you're doing the difficult things first, then the easier tasks, they get done more quickly as well. So we're talking about prioritizing stuff, and again, delayed gratification, doing the stuff you don't want to do right now so you can do the stuff you really want to do later. So think about it this way: if you do the difficult tasks now, that'll probably, with your to-do list, give you an extra hour of video game time at the end of your list. So instead of having only 15 minutes because you spent 45 minutes of that time procrastinating. And then the next kind of component of time management is understanding what hard work actually looks like. Sometimes it's 2022. Our phones can do a lot of work for us. Our technology can do a lot of work for us. So sometimes we forget that there are some things that there are no shortcuts for, and that we have to be willing to work hard. And especially for the subjects, maybe English is the subject that you struggle the most in, maybe it's math, who knows, but especially for the things that are the most difficult for you, hard work looks a lot like extra studying, double reading, setting aside what would take somebody else 15 minutes, you set aside an hour because you know it's more difficult for you. So knowing what hard work actually looks like and repeated hard work, not just one time, but consistently, that's rough out there. So remembering hard work is choosing to do the harder stuff on your list first, focusing your efforts. So hard work looks like I'm not going to do anything else or think about anything else until this is done. I'm not going to look at my phone. I'm not going to read my messages, right? Um, do the hard, difficult, or boring stuff early, putting all of your effort into that task, even if you don't want to, finding the grit in to apply that hard work to it, even if you don't want to, and repeating that hard work, especially for the stuff that doesn't come easily to you. This might surprise you, but Englishy stuff came easily to me. But you know what, you didn't come easily to me was the science stuff. So I had to plan 3 times as much effort and 3 times as much time for the stuff that did not come as easily to me. And that's just part of being a human. It's the doing that matters. So this idea, we do a lot of like talking about doing stuff like, oh my gosh, I like totally have to do my homework. I'm going to get to it in just a second. And we spend more time talking about it or trying to get out of it than we do actually doing that thing. Like, practicing piano, you spend more time trying to find a devious way out of doing it than actually just spending the half hour that you're supposed to spend. And realizing that hard work looks like the highest level of quality that you could possibly produce, repeating that on repeat, right? So when we're talking about hard work and focusing, I was kind of talking about the way that you spend your time outside of class studying, but it also applies to class time in class. I give a lot of class time for students to do their work in class. And I see a lot of students, I can see them decide in their mind that they work better when they're alone at home. So they're just going to mess around during the class period and do the work at home. And half the time, they don't do the work at home. And when they do the work at home, home is a very distractible place. So it takes them twice as much time as it would have taken if they would have just hunkered down, found their grit, and completed it in class like they needed to. And maximizing in class time, saying that you are going to use every second of the class time you're given. I used to have a goal when I was in high school that I don't leave the building until all of my work for that day is done. I don't get to go home. I don't get to have fun because home was my fun place, right? So I did not get to leave school. As soon as I started driving, I didn't allow myself to go home until I was absolutely done. And that's a good tip for people who at home just want to have home be your relaxing place and school be your hard work place. But I ended up then, if I wanted to get home that day, I would start maximizing every single minute of my class time. If I had extra time during that SRC period or any of my other class periods, I would use it to complete all of my work for that day. And most days I ended up just being able to go home on time with everybody else because I was maximizing my in-school time as much as possible. I know this sounds nerdy, and I know that you're going to resist this, but you got to use a planner. You got to have something, whether it's like old school hard copy planner, like people did in the olden days, like when I was in high school, or some sort of digital planner, but you got to use one. And that Canvas to-do list is really helpful, but sometimes it's glitchy. Sometimes it doesn't order things correctly and stuff can get lost. So don't rely on Canvas to do your planning for you. Have your own planner and to-do list that works for you. I really like the Google Notes app. That's a really helpful for me too. So find something like that and make it work for you. Be consistent with it. And then I see a lot of students, they want to get the assignment done. So they'll rush through it, do a mediocre job on the assignment, and then be surprised when it didn't get a good score. And then they have to redo the whole thing all over again, which takes twice as much time, when if they would have added an extra 10 minutes onto the first time they attempted the assignment, they wouldn't have to redo the whole assignment at all. So the idea that spending the time you need to get it right the first time is still better time management than doing a halfway job and then doing it all over again when you find out it didn't receive full credit. So the question is, if you didn't have time to do it right, how do you expect to have time to do it again? And then we got to plan ahead. in my class, especially, I'm really, really forthright about due dates. I give due dates long time in advance. So if you know that you have a busy week coming up or you have a vacation coming up, there's no law against completing those assignments ahead or working ahead. Um, do everything that you can to avoid falling behind, even if it seems like you're turning into a Monica from Friends, right? It's still worth it to stay on track, because the second you get off track, the second you start turning things in late or you start getting behind, you start to get into that place in your mind where you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling frustrated, and then you start feeling like you can't do it and you might as well quit. And it's just all downhill from there. So planning ahead matters, even if you have to do stuff ahead of time, taking a look not at what you need to do for the next day, but what you need to do for the next week, and planning a week ahead. Um, I know a lot of students think that, well, I did the assignment by the due date. Class starts at 7 a.m. I woke up early and I started my assignment at 6:30. And doing your assignment at the last minute, sure, yeah, sure, you turned it in on time, but it's not good time management, because at the end of the day, if you're rushing through an assignment and leaving it till the very last minute, it wasn't your best work. You're going to have to redo it. You probably didn't gain the skills that you were supposed to from that assignment. So you're going to have to, at some point in the future, relearn that or redo that. So starting work on something the night before it's due isn't good time management. It's really not, especially when you got to level up in high school and college. Starting work 3 days before it's due is good time management. Um, and I see students fall into this trap. And I think COVID had a lot to do with changing this mindset. A lot of grace was given to students during COVID, and that was necessary, but it got students into this weird habit of, well, I turned it in. Isn't that fine? I learned the stuff. Isn't that fine? And, in life, it's not enough to just do the thing. You got to do the thing. You got to do the thing well, and you got to do the thing on time, because that's what will be expected of you in the professional world. And when you're turning in late work, by the way, some of this might not matter to some of you, but some of you, this might matter to. When you're turning in late work, it takes a teacher twice as much time to grade an assignment that's late than it does to grade an assignment that was submitted with the rest of the class. So keep in mind that when you turn in late work, you're also telling your teacher that their time isn't as important as yours as well. It would be lovely if people remembered that. And the thing that is just so frustrating to me when we talk about time management all through the term, there's still students that come to me the last week of a term and ask me how they can raise their grade. And yeah, I can accept assignments late, but you didn't learn anything if you're doing it that late in the term. You're just checking boxes. You're just doing damage control. I can accept it late, but you can't expect an A like everybody else got if you are starting the last few days of the term trying to scramble and do shoddy work on a whole bunch of assignments all at once. So the answer to, it's the last day of the term, what can I do to raise my grade? The real answer to that is have better time management a month ago. I don't know how to say it. It sounds snarky, but it is the truth. And then when we talk time management, not just completing work, but thinking about the way you actually manage time when your body is in a given place at a certain time. So you have to manage your time in the morning, at home, or at lunch, or when you're driving off campus to get lunch. You have to manage your time so your actual person can be in the required place at the required time as well. So being late is another version of just having bad time management, right? Being late means having better time management 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago. So when we think about time management, we remember that it's about self-management. It's about how can I delay what I want right now so I can get what I really, really want later. And at the end of the day, when we're talking about time management for school, delaying what you want to do right now, which is hang out with friends or watch that TV show, and realizing that what's down the line, that awesome GPA, that awesome ACT score, getting into the school that you always dreamed about, not having to deal with your parents being upset with you, right? Whatever your reason is for doing well, having that be more important than what you want right in the given moment that's going to keep you from doing what you're supposed to do. So, tips for better time management: simple things like create a daily plan. What am I going to do today? What do I have to get done before I get to do what I want to do? Um, Putting a time limit on each task. Maybe you do need a brain break and you do need to watch an episode of Gilmore Girls. Decide that you're only going to watch one, and then you're going to have the self-control to stop and go back to what you were supposed to do. Use a planner or a calendar. Know your deadlines. Keep a record of when things are due, and start days early before things are due. This is a hard thing, but learning to say no. If your friends really want you to hang out, or your boss really wants you to pick up an extra shift, knowing that saying no to somebody else often means saying yes to what you need. So learning how to say no, that's not a priority for my time right now, and that's okay. Phone reminders are my friend. I set phone reminders for everything that I don't think I'll remember. Deciding when you're working that you're not going to split your focus. You're going to put your phone all the way away and just work on that one thing before you get a break. That's blocking out distractions as well. Track the time you spend. So if you know that you're going to have a similar assignment coming up in your class, time yourself on the first one so you know how much time you need to set aside for those similar assignments down the road. If you can eliminate the things in your life that waste your time. There's a good, better, best thought process here, right? Is watching Gilmore Girls good? Why, yes, it is. It is awesome. But is it better than getting enough sleep so I can be prepared for the next day? Is it better than completing the homework so I don't feel uncomfortable or overwhelmed in class the next day? Yeah, it's good, but it's not nearly as good as what I really want down the line. So these time management tips, I hope it helps you. I hope you think about time management as a skill that you can master. And even if you're not good at time management right now, it doesn't mean that you're always going to be bad at it. You can't just use the disclaimer like, that's just not part of my personality. I'm just not good at it. No. It's just that it's a skill that you need to develop and you haven't quite developed it yet. But this can be the class that you develop it in. This can be the time where you decide, I have skills that I need to develop in time management, and that's what I'm going to work on this year. This could be your year. This could be the year that you conquer time. And in conquering time, you get what you want, you conquer yourself, and you reach your goals. So I hope that for you, and I wish that for you. And at the end of the day, time management is stress management. It's mental health management. I see a lot of connecting lines between students who struggle with anxiety and struggle with other mental health concerns, and students who also struggle with time management, because it's so quick. It's so easy to go down that pathway of getting down on yourself and getting frustrated with yourself if you've already gotten behind, if you're already overwhelmed, if you're already frustrated. So I don't just look at time management as getting what you want out of life. I also look at time management as avoiding getting into a bad mental health spiral, saving yourself from a bad mental health situation. So hopefully that is helpful to you. If you struggle with time management and you're just not sure how to fix your issues, come talk to me. I'll help talk you through it. I'm happy to help you troubleshoot your time management skills and give you some suggestions. I'm here for you. I mean, I didn't become this paragon of time management that I am. I didn't become this overnight. I had to learn the hard way for a lot of these things, and I'm happy to help you avoid learning the hard way if I can. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you commit to having awesome time management. Have a lovely day. Bye.